Here's a real quick overview of Pear Deck for Google Slides. There are a lot of tutorials on YouTube, so this is by no means inclusive, but if you want to get a little bit more information, just go ahead to YouTube and search around. There's a lot of really good tutorials. However, this is just a quick rundown. So the first thing, if you want to use Pear Deck, you're going to need to do is click on add-ons, click get add-ons. Now I already have this add-on, but when you go to get add-ons, you'll see something like this. And if you don't see Pear Deck come up, which I see it, you just go ahead and search for it. Click on it and then install it real quick, and that will be useful right away. You might need to restart your browser. I find that the easiest way to do that is by opening up another window, Chrome //restart. And then obviously I'm not going to do that right now because then it would shut down the recording. However, it just quickly closes down your browser and brings it right back up like a second later, and then you're good to go, and you don't have to shut down everything completely. And that's a really useful tip for anytime you add an add-on or an extension. Restarting usually is necessary, and it's just something that I've been in the habit of doing. Okay, so once you have your Pear Deck add-on, you might see this, or you might need to click on add-ons. Either way is fine. So if I were to click on this, I open the Pear Deck add-on. Same thing happens if I have it right there. I think I see this because I am paying for the premium plan. I'm not sure if you would see that otherwise. However, the premium plan is not necessary, but I think it's well worth it. But for the more simple things, just try out using it first under the free version, and before you decide whether or not you want to spring for the premium plan. So you'll see here I don't want to start the lesson until I've already made my Pear Deck slides. So you can go about this a couple different ways. I suggest that you just make the slides as you would normally make the slides, and then once you're familiar with the features, you can make the slides for the purpose of adding the features. So for this one, my students are doing a quick tutorial on how to capitalize words, and so I want my kids to draw a line underneath any letters that should be capitalized. And the way that they're going to do that is I'm going to add a drawing slide. So here you'll see all the options for your slides. Some of these are premium options. Drawing slide is one of the free options, and it's one that kids have a lot of fun with. So once that opens up, it's just going to add this little bar down there. Don't remove that. Having that there means that when I share this with my students, they'll be able to draw right onto the slide, and it doesn't affect my slide. It doesn't like edit my slide, and every student will be able to see their version of it, and they'll be able to draw on it, and I will be able to see what they do too, and that's really super handy. And then just simply, when you're ready. Oh, another thing that I'm doing with this particular slide is I'm giving students a Kahoot. So rather than telling them, to go over to Kahoot.it, I just put a little link in there, and so kids can go straight from Pear Deck, click on that link, and then they go over to Kahoot. So that's a really handy thing too. So once I've made all my slides and I've customized them using the Pear Deck options, I'm going to go ahead. Oh, and one of the options is adding an audio to slide too, and that's really kind of nice. That way, if you have asynchronous learning, you can add an audio to the slide, and the kids can listen to the audio, and it's right there, like within the slide. All right, so once I have finished everything, I'm going to click on Start Lesson. And what it's going to do is it's going to give me two options, whether I want it to be student paced or instructor paced. Now, if I'm doing synchronous instruction, I'm going to want it to be instructor paced. That way the kids have to be looking at the same slide that I'm looking at. They can't go forward and backward on their own. So it keeps the kids all at the same pace. Now, if I want to do asynchronous, where, kids are going back to review, or they're, seeing what they missed if they weren't in class, I will click student paced, and that means that they can open it up at any time and they can go back and forth through the slides as they like. Once I have clicked on one of my choices, it's going to give me a code and a link. So you have two options. You can either give kids the code that you'll see in a moment, and it's just taking a second here. I'm going to close that out. So now I can either give kids this code, and if we were in class, I might project that up on the wall and they would do that. Or if you're using Google Classroom, you could invite the class. Unfortunately, this doesn't play as nicely with Canvas. But what I do for Canvas, I just grab this link, and then I go over to my Canvas page. I edit, and my kids know that most days they're going to have a Pear Deck. So they come over here, and I just change out the link every day that I use it. So I just go ahead and I click on that and I put a new link right in there, just by clicking edit link, or I could remove the old link and put the new one in. Either way works. And if you want to make it even easier on yourself, you can just put, say that in chat, or just give it to them. However, sometimes when kids are coming in late, it's nice to have the Pear Deck link available to them in Canvas or some other way, so that they know, that they can just go back right to that, and they will be taken to the slide that the class is currently on. I find that this is really super useful for remote instruction, because I can be sure that they're looking at this, and they can interact with my slides, and I don't have to keep on going back and forth between presenting my screen and not presenting my screen. It's just always there. It is in a different window, so it's not going to take up another spot in the Meet the way that presenting your screen does. That's both good and bad, because if the kids want to be on the Meet screen, or rather the Meet tab, they're not going to be able to see this. But I find that it works pretty well, because most of the times that I want to be presenting this, I'd rather have the kids be looking right at this. Anyhow, so that is just a quick rundown on how you use this, and it's really, once you get the hang of it, it's just as simple as making Google Slides, and it really does add a lot of good interaction. One of the features that I didn't go over, which I use a lot, is the feature where students can answer a question by typing. Sometimes that's more useful than having them draw on there, whereas you could have them draw to write something, but having them type it means that it's easier for you to read it, and I find that that's a really good way to start a discussion, is ask them a question, ask them to type in their answer, and then you can see their answers, and then you can call on the kid who has given an answer that you think would be useful. And it's really like a confidence booster for a kid for you to say, oh, you had a really insightful answer, and would you mind sharing it with the class? And so that has been really useful for me in getting those conversations started, and knowing, what students are participating, because I can see the number of students who are participating. I can see who has and has not, and that kind of keeps them more engaged. Anyhow, that's just a quick overview, and if you have any questions, shoot me an email or just talk to me, and I will be happy to help.